PTC, Jim Heppelmann. Great, thank you, Charlie, and good morning to everybody. Welcome to LiveWorx 2015, and welcome to Boston. Beautiful day out there here in the hub of the IoT universe. Now, we at PTC are very excited to be hosting what really is an industry event. Now, it's called the Internet of Things for a reason, and the reason actually has more to do with the things than it does to the internet, because the big change is happening on the thing end of this phrase. Now, PTC knows a lot about things. We've been in the business and recognized as an innovator in software technology that helps people to create and service things for more than 30 years. In fact, if you turn the clock back 30 years, you'll see that PTC was the founder of a principle of 3D modeling that went on to become the 3D and the 3D printing that we all talk about today. But we didn't stop there. We had to evolve because things have evolved. Things aren't just mechanical objects you can model in 3D anymore. They're much more than that. They're smart and they're connected. But today, all things, at least all manufactured things, start their life in a digital form. They start in the world of virtual reality. The use of 3D modeling and computer-aided design is ubiquitous. Engineers use it to create rich digital prototypes of the things they're thinking about, to test and to validate those ideas, while the thing exists only in a digital form where change is inexpensive and fast. This is how almost all the things you interact with, computers, automobiles, home appliances, heavy machinery, medical devices, this is how all of this stuff is created. These digital prototypes are filled with rich information that becomes the basis for manufacturing. It's the critical input to a factory that really converts a digital concept of a product into a physical reality. If you can make that factory small enough and automated enough, it is a 3D printer. But in any case, it kind of acts like one. But when this digital idea is converted to a physical reality, the digital idea at this point hasn't had much more value. It's spent, it's did its job. It's no longer that useful, except perhaps as the basis for a future derivative product. So we keep it around. But in terms of the product's life cycle, the physical thing never again consults its digital counterpart. It gets converted into the physical world and it never looks back. So these digital and physical worlds, physical reality and digital reality, have been distinct and they've been very separate up to this point. And very little information about what's happening in the physical world ever makes it back into the digital world. It's been this way for decades. So if you're thinking about a product you might make, and if you ask questions like, I wonder how it's used, I wonder how it's working, and you listen, there's just silence, maybe crickets, until something goes wrong. And by the time that phone call comes in to the help desk, you've got a customer who's already angry and already disappointed with the thing that you provided to them. So our means for tracking what's going on in the physical world is very crude. In a lot of cases, it comes down to that registration card or warranty card that comes in the box with a thing that you buy. And how many of you have filled one of those out recently? How many of you have ever filled one of those registration cards out? Not too many. So think about it for a minute. The way it works today, or the way it has been working, is we ask the customer to be a sensor and monitor the thing, and then call us if there's a problem. Well, this concept has led to a massive proliferation of call centers, people waiting for that call to come in, and then using a lot of automation to sort of process what happens when that call comes in. But the key thing is that all the problems are immediately escalated through the customer, because the customer has to act as the bridge from the physical world back to the digital world where this all started. So this notion, this backdrop of physical and digital worlds being distinct and separate has become the basis for a whole lot of solutions, IT solutions, for example, that are designed to automate business processes. Applications for creating things like Keynote or PLM or application lifecycle management, and applications for managing business processes like CRM or ERP or service lifecycle management. Coming from a large number of vendors, but all predicated on this understanding that you don't know what's going on out there in the physical world. So these applications do have tremendous value in terms of automation driving efficiencies, but that value is capped or limited by a fundamental lack of information of what's going on out there. So, fortunately, things are changing. The once simple things that used to be mechanical physical are now complex, intelligent systems made of hardware, software, and connectivity. These things are now part physical and part digital. They're part client and part server. They're part cloud and they're part on-premise, all at the same time. There's really no question that things are changing, and this change is changing the world that we live in. There is no longer a clean separation of physical reality and digital reality. We're entering a world that's a new reality, where physical and digital contributions are distinct, but they're inseparable. It's the yin and yang of the new reality. So the technologies and the approaches that we use to create, operate, and service things, they need to change too. We need new technology platforms to enable this new reality. And then we're going to need to develop brand new applications of those new platforms to solve problems that heretofore have been unsolvable because we didn't have the technology and the information to solve them. But we're also going to need to circle back to all those systems we already have in place and enhance them so that our existing business systems can tap into this new reality to enhance the way they work and their ability to automate processes and their ability to create even more value. So in this new reality, the thing has a voice and it wants to be heard. This thing can monitor our customer for us, and it can track their success, and it can track their satisfaction. So think about it for a minute. We can now know as much about our customer and their use of our product and our product itself as the customer is willing to let us have. And in some cases, they're willing to let us have a tremendous amount. If you think of the Fitbit and Fuel Bands and devices like that, the wearables that make up the quantified self-movement, there's really a tremendous amount of information available to us now. And there's huge value in understanding the usage data of that thing, the design performance of that thing, and more than anything, if there are problems developing, and maybe the thing is going to fail or break or come down out of commission or what have you, we can use this information to be much more proactive and to get a lot more value out of these things. So we at PTC can't really be in the business of helping companies to create and service things without internalizing and realizing and recognizing that things are changing. We have to make this new reality a PTC reality. So in the last 15 months, we've been on a mission. We've acquired the industry's two leading Internet of Things platform companies, ThinWorx and And we took these two companies, which are largely complementary, and we put them together as a single team working on an integrated technology stack to have really the power of both of them in a single integrated offering. So I want to welcome the customers here today that came through the Exida heritage, and as well the customers that have joined us from the ThinWorx heritage, and of course many more of you who are really joining us subsequent to both of those acquisitions. If you look at it, over the last 18 months, PTC has invested about $500 million to create the industry's best technology platform for realizing this new reality. And there's included in that some interesting new developments that I'm going to unveil this morning a little bit later in my talk. So I could talk all day about how exciting this new reality is, but I think it's a lot more fun and a lot more interesting to show it to you. So we created a demonstration using a fairly simple product that will show you some of the most interesting and important implications of this new reality. We selected a product that's not that complicated because we didn't want to get lost in the complexity of the product while trying to show you the possibilities. But we also selected a product that you wouldn't think of as being smart and connected because it never has been before. It's a mountain bike. Could we please run the video here and introduce the mountain bike? So I'm joined on stage here by two of my colleagues. First, Mike Campbell.
Morning.
In the sports suit. Mike runs our CAD business. And then secondarily, the masked marauder here is Rick Bellata. Rick was one of the founders of the ThinWorx business, and he's the head of product and technology strategy. And they have with them a mountain bike from Santa Cruz, who happens to be a PTC customer. Mike?
That's right, Jim. What we have here is the Santa Cruz V10 downhill racer. So this bike was the first all-carbon frame bike to win a World Cup back in 2010. Since then, they've won a variety of world championships with it, and we're very proud to have Santa Cruz as a customer of ours, and we thank them for the bike. This bike is completely designed and engineered in PTC's CAD software. So here you see in the 3D modeling environment the model that was used as the digital prototype during the development of this bike. And they used that tool, they used PTC Creo, to get as much confidence in the design as they can before they go off and manufacture.
All right, Mike, so when I'm looking at the CAD model in Creo and looking at the bike, they look a little different. I mean, this bike doesn't strike me as something that was designed to be smart and connected.
That's right. It wasn't designed to be smart connected, and that's the reality for many products out there in the market today. But we very easily instrumented it with a collection of sensors like the ones that I'm holding here. This harness, if you will, includes a battery pack and a Raspberry Pi for connectivity, and a handful of sensors that we're using to measure and monitor the key characteristics that will help us understand the performance. We have sensors that are measuring the wheel speed, for example, the cadence of the pedals, the compression on the different suspension mechanisms, as well as the steering angle measured by the angle of rotation on the handlebars.
Okay, so we've instrumented the bike with some sensors and a Raspberry Pi for Wi-Fi connectivity, and suddenly we have a bike that's in that yin and yang of being digital and physical at the same time, and we've entered with this bike into the new reality. And as Mike mentioned, now we can monitor what's going on with this bike. So as Rick interacts with the bike, if you look at the ThinWorx dashboard we created, you can see that we've given this bicycle a voice. Rick gave the back wheel a spin, and we're looking at the RPM gauge on the back wheel. We see a slip skid indicator because the back wheel's turning at a different RPM than the front wheel. So something's not quite right. We must be in a skid. So that's a pretty simple form of analytics. And You see a number of different readings on the suspension link angle, the acceleration, which at rest goes back to 1G, the force down on the frame. We can see the fork displacement, the speed of the bike, and so forth. So we have ourselves a very smart and connected bike. Okay, so this is a valuable idea. You know, dashboards like this have hundreds of applications that create all kinds of value for engineering, for operations, particularly for service, for sales, and so forth. Lots you can do with this basic connectivity concept. And what we're really seeing here is the ability to have real-time insight into the real-world performance of the bike. And we've been able not just to collect and display sensor readings, but to perform some basic analytics and display that as well into our dashboard. This area of analytics, I'm going to come to a little later, is really one of the hottest spaces in the IoT marketplace, because a lot of times the voice of the product needs some translation. Sensor readings by themselves don't always tell us the full story. We need to analyze what is the message encoded in those sensor readings that really tells us what's going on. So this dashboard gives us useful information, but it doesn't give us the whole picture. It's really just the tip of the iceberg. So I might ask, how could I understand what's happening to the physical bike if I'm not next to it, if I can't see it and compare the two? How would I know if it's really being ridden or not? I mean, I see readings, but that's a little hard to interpret. So we've got an answer for that this morning, a new idea, and it may surprise you to learn that one of the newest approaches in IoT actually goes back to our roots in CAD and PLM. Mike, why don't you tell us about it?
So the idea here is that by leveraging IoT, we're able to bridge from we're able to provide you that physical proximity in the digital world. So what you see here on the screen is actually the concept of a digital twin. The digital twin is a representation of this particular physical bike. You can think of it as a product avatar for this bike. So as Rick moves the bike here in reality, we see the digital twin updating in real time. Rick, why don't you get on the bike and give it a ride? We'll see how it behaves. Now, this digital twin that you see here is showing us the behavior that Rick is exhibiting, but you're also seeing some basic analysis that's happening. So not only is it behaving realistically, but PTC Creo is recognizing the data from the sensors and then doing some basic analysis to provide us even deeper insight into the product's behavior. Contextualizing what's happening with the bike in this way is incredibly valuable. It gives us the ability to understand what's happening in the product when we can't be with it, when we can't be next to it because, for example, it's a space station, or when it's too big, a factory full of machines that might be giving us data, or too small, like nano machinery. This context is very, very valuable from an engineering perspective. It gives the designers and the engineers insight into the real-world usage of the product and allows them to do things like optimize its design based on how it's being used, or improve its quality based on how it's actually being used in the field, and also gives us deeper insight into the different aspects of value that our customers see in our products. So this is a level of enlightenment that IoT delivers back into the digital world. Now, so far we've looked at examples of where data is streaming from the physical world into the digital world, and that's valuable when I can't be with the product. But what if I can be with the product? In fact, what if I need to be with the product so that I can service it and repair it? Well, that's where the idea of augmented reality becomes part of PTC's vision for a new reality.
All right, so what you're going to see now is that Mike has picked up an iPad, which we've connected into the displays here, and it's running an augmented reality application that we've developed. And he's able to link the augmented reality view through the serial number of the bicycle into that exact bicycle, and then he scans the AR tag just to get the 3D coordinate system of that bicycle, which will be pretty useful for augmentation. And now he's interacting with the bicycle. So you can see now in the camera that we're looking at the bicycle and projecting or augmenting onto that bicycle a dashboard. And we put a gauge on the back wheel for RPMs and a gauge on the front wheel, and we've added indications for slip, for the force vectors and the angle of the suspension and the angle of the steering, those 7 different sensors, and we're projecting those green arrows are in fact the red arrows, the reaction forces that were shown from the CAD model. So we're taking sensor readings, we're taking simple analytics around slip skid, and we're taking some pretty sophisticated engineering analytics from CAD, mashing them together and augmenting them onto the bicycle. So, all right, good enough, guys. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. So, join me in thanking my colleagues, Mike and Rick Bellotta. Be careful there, Rick, for helping, bring this pretty interesting story about IoT technology to life. And of course, I want to thank Santa Cruz because that really is a pretty interesting bike. If you get a chance, it'll be on display over in the West End, and you can go look at how we rigged it up. First, the bike itself is an engineering marvel for a bicycle, quite an expensive bicycle, by the way. And then the way we rigged it up and the aftermarket sensors and connectivity really, I think, is a good model for how you can do this to many, many products. You don't have to invent new products with connectivity and sensors built into them. You can, after the fact, add that capability as we did here. So that's pretty cool. But for an operator or a service technician, it's more than just cool, it's invaluable. And it's really not just for bicycles. I mean, the bicycle is a very simple example. But you can imagine the power of this concept if you were to project it onto a piece of heavy equipment or onto an aircraft or some type of piece of complex machinery and see that dashboard and instructions and then go into an augmented display of the service procedure that you need to do to interact with that piece of equipment. So it's pretty amazing stuff. Let me just recap what happened here from a technology perspective and sort of give you a schematic illustration of what really went on. So we started with a digital prototype that we converted to a physical bike, but at that point, those two realities were totally disconnected from each other. So we came along and we added aftermarket sensors and connectivity to the bike, and we connected that bike then with our ThinWorx platform up to the cloud, and we were able to put on top of it a traditional dashboard that you'd run on your laptop or your mobile device. We as well did some rudimentary analytics capabilities, the slip skid, and then later the more sophisticated engineering analytics. And that's a powerful idea. In fact, it's so powerful that we could, and we probably should, do a lot more in this area, which is actually why I'm very excited right now, today, to announce that we've acquired a leading company in the world of predictive analytics called ColdLight. So let me tell you a little bit about ColdLight. ColdLight is a visionary company in this world of big data, machine learning, and predictive analytics. And what we like is that ColdLight is to analytics what ThinWorx has been to IoT platforms. That is to say, it's a big breakthrough in terms of speed and simplicity without really sacrificing any power at all. And coincidentally, it must be in the water supply because the ColdLight guys are in Pennsylvania just down the road from the ThinWorx guys. So pretty coincidental that 15-minute drive apart, we find two pretty remarkable technology companies in Pennsylvania. So we, PTC, will use this ColdLight technology as our core IoT data analytics platform, and we'll leverage this technology with ThinWorx so that the two work seamlessly together to automate the way that Thing data gets analyzed and translated into actionable recommendations. So let's take a brief moment here, and please join me in welcoming on stage the founder and CEO of ColdLight, Ryan Kaplan. Ryan, we're glad to welcome you to the PTC family.
Well, it's great to be here, and on behalf of myself and the entire ColdLight team back in Pennsylvania, who is streaming in live, so shout out to everybody there. We couldn't be more thrilled with the relationship. What PTC's vision is for IoT, connected devices, and what you just saw with that bicycle demonstration is absolutely in line with where we see the perfect complement for our technology. We at ColdLight have developed a artificial intelligence-based technology called Neuron that analyzes big data, can detect failure patterns, identify ways to mitigate risk and mitigate failures, and putting that type of technology into the power of the ThinWorx platform is incredibly exciting. Our technology is able to ingest streams of data from platforms like ThinWorx and then apply automated machine learning-based pattern recognition to figure out what's causing failures, what's causing problems, and then apply machine learning technology to build very, very powerful prediction models at very, very big scales. And lastly, help the decision maker to simulate what course of action should I take in order to improve an outcome. That technology inside of the PTC ecosystem is incredibly exciting to us. The bottom line for us is that we help organizations to prevent problems before they happen by being able to predictively analyze data. It's been a rocket ship ride for Coldlight, and we could not be more proud or more excited than to take the next step with PTC and change the world of analytics.
All right,
thanks, Jeff.
great. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. All right, so we're really excited to have the Coldlight technology here at PTC. And I'll point out that we're going to have a session on the agenda tomorrow to take you through this technology, and as well you can see it in the Expo, Solution Expo back at the Westin this evening. PTC invested more than $100 million to acquire this technology. So you can tell we're pretty excited about it and pretty optimistic about what we're going to be able to do when we connect this incredible IoT technology together with this incredible advanced analytics platform. We know good technology when we see it, and so thanks a lot to the Coldlight guys for enriching this dimension of our platform. Okay, so coming back now to our schematic. After we collected this data and put it in a dashboard and ran some analytics at it, we then used this concept of a digital twin. And the digital twin was this digital avatar that represented the digital counterpart, or twin if you will, born at the same time as the physical product. So as the digital product goes through its life experiences, so too can, as the physical product goes through its life experiences, so too can the digital counterpart, the digital twin. And obviously we use CAD and PLM technology because we had to understand both the configuration at the bill of material level of that bicycle, and as well the configuration at the 3D digital mock-up level of that bicycle as well. So now that we have this very rich understanding of what's going on out in the physical world, further enhanced by the digital world, we then use this concept of augmented reality application to augment back into the physical world this rich digital understanding that we have. We used an iPad. You could have used an iPhone. You could have used an Android device. You could have put on smart glasses and achieved the same basic concept in any case. But it's really this closed loop idea that the digital and physical realities are merged together in this new reality that we've been talking about. All of this technology exists today. What you saw was working real software. I think what's really powerful here, though, is the idea of a technology platform that allows this to happen, and then enterprise applications that have been adapted and enhanced to tap into and process the information coming from this new reality. So at PTC, we see ourselves as a catalyst not only to connect our own enterprise applications, but to open this idea up and expose it to all the other enterprise applications that you have in your environments today. So we think that sharing thing data with ERP and supply chain and CRM systems, service applications, can bring a tremendous amount of new data from those applications. So we're pleased this morning to make a second announcement. You'll see we put out a press release on this, which is the launch of a major new product we call ThinWorx Converge. It's the point where the applications that you use in your business converge with this new reality. So ThinWorx Converge is essentially a data hub, an integration hub, that brings data from the physical world and makes it accessible and shareable with your business systems that you have in your business today. So you can see this offering on display at the Solution Expo, and there will be a breakout session focused on this idea as well. Now, I think there are many business applications that could benefit from hearing the voice of the product, the voice of the thing, but I think many of you realize that perhaps the first and maybe biggest killer app is service automation. the way you service things will be different if you're in communication with those things. It'll be very different. It will be predictive. You'll avoid problems rather than fix them. And when it's time to fix them, you'll know exactly what's wrong and you'll show up and get it fixed in one pass. So the Internet of Things will transform service. Many of you know that because many of you who were Exida customers purchased Exida for this very reason, because Exida had a family of basic service applications for remote login and remote monitoring, configuration management, and so forth. This was one of the reasons that we were so excited to acquire the Exida company. So ThinWorx Converge is a new version of those applications on top of a data integration hub, and it provides a wide range of integration points for service applications like that. Which brings me to the third big announcement we're making here this morning, which is our strategic partnership with ServiceMax. So I'm sure you've all heard of ServiceMax. ServiceMax is a fast-growing innovator in the field of, or in the market of field service automation. ServiceMax is one of those companies who's been thinking a lot about the Internet of Things, and they get it. They understand that the power of Internet of Things will transform the way that field service is done. So we've aligned together in a partnership, and together we want to go make that happen. So please join me in welcoming on stage one of the founders and the Chief Strategy Officer of ServiceMax, Mr. Atani Krishna. So through this new partnership, PTC and ServiceMax want to marry the best of both worlds to deliver an amazing new offering. We're going to develop solutions together, and we're going to sell and market together. PTC will add the ServiceMax field service management capabilities into our service lifecycle management portfolio, and ServiceMax will use PTC's Internet of Things technology, the kind of technology we've been talking about, to empower its field service solution. This will give field service technicians access to contextual and real-time information at the point of service delivery. So Athani, we're very excited to be partnered with ServiceMax in this new opportunity.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that very much. And we are very excited about this partnership as well, Jim. I think together we can bring a completely new level of service offerings to the market. In fact, Jim, at ServiceMax, our mission is to empower every field technician in the world to deliver flawless field service. And I think if we can, with the integration with PTC, if we can bring the real-time contextual product data into their hands, then we can enable them to truly initiate remote predictive interactive service. And in fact, we hope to enable and encourage our customers to explore this new emerging outcome-based service models as well. So I think the cutting edge of innovation in the IoT is happening here, and we are thrilled to be part of that along with PTC.
Yeah, good. Well, great. We're looking forward to partner with ServiceMax and make it happen. Thank you, Adani. So I can tell you that we at PTC, and I know as well the ServiceMax organization, I've spent a lot of time talking to the CEO of ServiceMax about this. This is an exciting opportunity for both companies because when you put what we have together, we're in a position to set the standard for the way that service should be done. So I encourage the audience to stop by and see a demonstration of an integrated ServiceMax IoT offering at the Partner Pavilion over at the Westin this evening. So again, thanks Athani Krishna and ServiceMax as well for this partnership. Okay, so hopefully now, based on what I've told you this morning, it's clear to you that things are changing. The products we use every day are evolving into complex systems of hardware and software and connectivity. This will change many of our business processes because we have this new information. It will require a new generation of technology platforms for IoT and big data analytics, and it will require us to update our existing applications for engineering and service and other places so that we get the full value of this new reality in the applications that we've invested so much money in, so that we get further business value and further process transformation capability out of it. So PTC has been evolving to meet the needs of our customers, and we're positioning ourselves to be the company at the forefront of this digital and physical convergence, the new reality. So with that, I want to say that I think each of you has a very important role to play here in making this new reality happen. We want you to jump in. We want you to think big, challenge the status quo, and to innovate. And you can know that PTC will be right there with you each step of the way. I think there's a real opportunity for us here in this room and on the webcast to be the people who, working together, change the world. So thank you all, and have a great show here at LiveWorx 2015.